I will play this game with the Rhydon MK2. And this opponent recently beat me with Airbus, so is a strong opponent. Okay, let me just take a quick look at their profile. They have a lot of games, the two most played games, just like me, Anabi and Santorini in BGA. What should I offer here? I have Apollo, I probably won't offer. Only if it was against Nyx, maybe. But still. Asteria versus Atlas, it could be interesting. These three gods against each other, I think it should be fine. Even these four with Hydra, I guess. Let me think. Do I want to play with Nyx? That's the question. The problem here with Nyx on BGA is I don't know which 6 powers will appear, but probably one of them is fine. This is often the phase of the game that it takes me more time to play. It's also one of the most important phases, because if you choose something unbalanced, then it's game over. I can do Europe and Talus versus Hydra. That's fine. Hydra against Nyx, it's interesting, but probably much better for Hydra. Talus versus Nyx is cool, but I have already played here, so let me go with Asteria and Atlas. Yeah. Asteria, if you step down, you can, after you play a normal turn, you can place a dome wherever you like, and Atlas, you can place a dome at any height instead of your normal build. Asteria might not use her power that much, maybe only 3 times. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but once she uses her power, it will be devastating. I would probably prefer to be Asteria, and that's what my opponent picks. Usually with Atlas, yeah, I like to dome the whole board and trap my opponent, but I don't think this will be a good strategy in this matchup. This is a classical initial setup with one worker in the center and the other orthogonally adjacent. This gives a lot of flexibility for my second move. Should I start doming the board? I don't think that will be a good strategy, but at the same time I don't want to build a level 1 so that Asteria can use to move up to. I want to see what Asteria does. I will place a dome, kind of a waiting move, and but my plan won't be to dome the whole board, at least for now. My plan will be try to keep a level board, so imagine an endgame situation where the whole board is a level 2, was all levels 2, then I would win quite easily, because Asteria couldn't use her power, but that's very unrealistic, so. Yeah, a very, very strong opponent spectating. What do I do here? Let me zoom in. Asteria is threatening to move to c4 and build in b5. She's also threatening to move up to a4. I guess I don't like a dome in a4. Maybe I can just go to c4 so that Atlas can't go to that square. I will go with this move, yeah. And a dome there so that if Asteria moves up, then she has one less square to go to. One move I would consider as Asteria was to move to c3 and build in b2. But this is also fine because you move up your worker, you generate a dome. The downside is that you move to the perimeter. This almost gives the impression that I can trap Asteria, but that's just an illusion. I don't think I can. But yeah, I will move to b3 and place a dome in b4. If she doesn't move to a3, then I go to a3 myself, build the dome in b3, and yeah, move away from a3 and build a dome in a3. So she pretty much has to go to a3. And if she moves to a3 and builds in a4, I can probably try to go to b2 and build a dome in b3. If she moves up, I don't know. Let me see what Asteria does. I told at the beginning of the game that my strategy wouldn't be to dome on the whole board, but that's what I've been doing until now. So we have the move. Maybe we don't have to move, but I guess at least you have to move to a3, otherwise you get trapped. You can move to a3 and build in a2, for instance. So to a3. And I was just here thinking that if Asteria builds in a4, maybe putting a dome in b3 isn't the correct move. I was considering moving to b2 and building a dome in b3, but maybe the other worker can move up and then place a dome in a2. I don't know. Yeah, if this worker, if we could eventually move up and place a dome in a2. Okay, but we don't have that move apparently. Should I still try to trap the a3 worker? It seems possible. Let me think. It seems, but I don't think it is. I can always move up to a2 and build a dome in b3. Or a block in b3, it's probably better. Trying to level the board, as I said initially. Or I can do worker to c2 and build a dome in b2. On a 1v1, I think Atlas would win. What I mean by this is that if I trap the a3 worker, but I also trap my own worker, that would benefit me. So let me think instead of talking. Yeah. To a2, builds in a3. That's not very clear. I don't think this will work. I'm complicating this position. I go here, building. No, I don't see anything. So let me just, I guess, move to A2. Or maybe even going to B2 and building in B3. Could that work? I don't think it would, so I'll just play the safest move. This seems like it gives a good square to Asteria, and in fact it does. But the point is that Asteria wants to move down, and if she really wants to move down, she will have to go to B2, and then I will take A3 or B3. If she doesn't move down like it happened, then I guess I can activate my D2 worker, or I need to, yeah, I will go to C3, building B2, and then I can get my female worker into a better position. But, okay. Took me a while from my previous move, but now I'm playing a bit faster. I am allowing Asteria to move up, which is usually not good, but what can you do? I should get my worker close to the upper part of the board. Otherwise, Asteria might trap herself there. So, the problem is this worker. Asteria can move down and build a level 2 and a dome in D3. So I don't know if I should move my A2 worker. On the other hand, if I move my C3 worker, if I don't go to B2, Asteria will just dome B2. And my A2 worker gets in a very ugly position. So I'm not quite sure what to play now. I guess I will move to B2 because the worker getting stuck in A2 is pretty bad. And okay, I guess I will build in A3 and say take it. Because if Asteria moves up, then I will gladly take the level 2. If Asteria moves down to D4, and builds a level 2 in C4, and the dome in D3, then I can just, at least I get to move up to A3, maybe even building in A5 or A2. So other moves for my opponent just to move up to A3, but then you have to give me a level 2, or you can build in A5, but then I just go to B3 and dome A5. It's a pleasant position for me, so I'm not very worried about that. The move I would probably play is... I think it would still be this one to move down to d4, build at level 2 in c4, and then the dome in d3. Then Atlas would move up to a3 and build in a5. Or maybe even b2. In a5. Maybe in b2. No, in b2 is ugly. Maybe in a2. So my opponent plays a move which I was not expecting at all, because this just looks like it gives me a wonderful square, and I will gladly take it. I guess a dome in b2 and this worker in a3 gets in a very bad position, and my worker in b3 is in a very good position, and yours in a terrible one. I don't know, this move just seemed natural. I could have also built a level 2 in b2, but following my initial plan reasoning, I guess. But the rest of the board is still empty, so I guess that would not be good. Asteria would just go to b2. So now this worker is just terrible. And I don't think it will ever come back to life. This worker will be trapped if I can place a dome in b1. Really? Maybe a dome? Yeah, maybe it had to be a dome in c4. That makes sense. I would like to go to c2 and build a dome in b1, but like I said, this worker would just move to d3 and build in d4, and this corner would be unstoppable. So let me go to d3 and build in c2. I will not build in c2 actually. I was thinking about it, but a dome will eventually be dropped in c2. Yet again, I don't want to Asteria to have to move up to, so I will build a dome in a2, I guess. What is my plan? Maybe I should build in c2 actually. I should play more aggressively. Otherwise I am giving Asteria time to think and get back into the game. So my question is c2 or c3? If c3, then Asteria moves up, so I guess maybe c2. Yeah, let's go with it. Wait, I was okay. Thinking, why didn't I go to a2 and build it on in b3? But then Asteria just goes to the corner and wins. Okay, this is one of those moves where I might want to go to d4 and build a level 1 in e4, so that Asteria can't step down. Asteria goes to d5 and builds a level 2 in c5, I guess I just go to d4 and build a dome in c5. Another possible move Asteria might have is to go to c3 and build in d4. Or this. Maybe that's too risky. Like I said, this level 2, this level 1 in c2, I mean. Kind of. I was thinking about the zombie one, but not yet. I have to deal with this threat first. This corner, kind of corner. I have to deal with it. Maybe I don't. Let me just go to d4 and build a dome here, and I will not think about it. When I move out of d4, I will most likely build a dome in d4. Now I think Asteria should move up, just to generate a dome. Maybe build in d1. There we go. So I said that I would build a dome in d4, but I don't think I like it now, because Asteria just moves down to d2. So how do we prevent that? We build a level 1 in d2. This is yet again what I've said before. I give Asteria a good square, but she doesn't move down. If she wants to move down, she will have to go to e3, which is a bad square. I don't think she will move down. But then if she doesn't move down, I get to go to c2. I guess. Maybe I don't. Maybe she builds in c2. Will she build in c2? Now I'm scared. But no. Very funny, the avatar of this player is in fact Atlas, and mine is Aeolus. Yeah, Atlas. I'm playing with Atlas. It would be funny if it was Atlas against Aeolus and we would have the reversed powers. I will move up and I guess a level 1 in c3, so that Asteria cannot use that square to move down. I would like to build a dome in b1, but I think I finally can do it. I think I can do it now. Asteria can step down to build a dome in c3 and build in d4, which is quite squarey, but I don't think it will work because this worker now is running out of moves. With this dome in b1, I guarantee that this worker will not come into game using this b1 square, because it was a possible scenario that this worker moved down, build in a1, dome in a3, then move down to b1. If it would move down again, it would be another dome. Both of Asteria's workers are on level 2, which means they can generate 2 domes. It's a bit scary, but I think I can manage for now. The position is not quite clear. Okay. I would like to move to d2 and build a dome in d3, but then Asteria can probably move down directly to e3? I don't know. It seems like Asteria is getting out of squares. This can be a decisive move. If I go to d3 and build a dome in d2, then I guess I cannot trap the Asteria, but I'm sure a computer would solve a position at this stage. I mean, I have to take one of these squares, that's for sure. I mean, I don't d3, but then Asteria can probably escape to e3, which is quite annoying. So maybe I have to go to d3, otherwise my worker might get trapped somehow. Maybe build in c3. Yeah, I have to play some move, I'm running out of time. Maybe a dome in d2 would have been a good move, but I can't be sure. Now I will probably see a dome in c2 or c3. Very, 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 very likely. I think my opponent hoping to, if we run out of moves, then this worker can move down, build in a3, build a dome and then move down again, build in a2 and build a dome in a2. So Asteria has two passing moves. So I need to figure out a way to trap this guy while I still have some squares to play with. But I also have a passing move to go to a4 and build in b3. So a dome will drop probably in c2, maybe c3. Feels more natural. It's a very sad dome because I really like the c3 square. Okay, instead we have a build in e3. I think I honestly prefer the other move because now I can go to e3. But we'll see what happens. My opponent will try to dome c2 eventually. So I will just go to e3. And let me think if I should build in d4. Level 1 or a dome. Or build in e2 a dome so that Asteria can move up. It is not easy to say. I guess a dome in e2. trying to reduce my opponent's possibility. Will I be level 2 in D2? No, that seems... I guess this is the move. A move. But then, if you notice, the board is getting leveled. I guess maybe building in C5 can be decent. But I guess I will just go with E4. I'm finally being able to put my plan into action of leveling the board. As you can see, this is a platform of levels 1 with 2 holes, but in terrible positions. So Asteria most likely won't move down to those squares. I have to be careful that this worker can move down and dome at any time. Was not considering that move. I just remembered it now, so I must be careful. Maybe a level 2 in D1? Yeah, probably what we will see. Oh, like this. Will it be different? Probably will, but it's tough to say the implications of moving to C2 instead of D2. I don't think it will matter because you will want to move up in your next move. But now this gives me a wonderful opportunity, I guess, to dome. Is this winning? Let me think. If this worker moves, I can just go to C2 and trap it. If this worker moves down... If this worker moves down, I can place it. If he moves down, pretty much has to build in A3 and dome, but I can dome then B3. I can move down again and build a dome in the corner. This is a tricky position. He moves down, builds a dome in A3 after a regular build. I move down, I build a dome, he builds down, builds a dome in the corner. Yeah, and then I think I would lose in that variation, so I prefer not to lose, so let me think of another move. I have to go to D3, that's for sure, but then I can... Do I want to build a dome or a block? I guess a block, because I don't want my worker to run out of options. Because we have seen this worker can move down and place a dome next to my male worker and perhaps trap it. Okay, but now do I have the dome in D3? Yes or no? Can I go to C2 and place a dome in D3? Or even to E3 and a dome in D3? She moves up, builds in C1, I go to D2, but I cannot do it. This is tricky. I guess I have to play this. This is a very counterintuitive move. At first, it came out of nowhere, this move, but it might work. It might not. Asteria moves up. I just go to d2 and build the dome. It should be fine in that case. I would like to think a bit more, but I also don't want to use a lot of time. This turned out to be a quite interesting game. I never thought it though. I mean, when you play against strong opponents, the game is usually interesting. I thought I would be defending, but... Okay, this is, I think, a good move. Not moving up to the first row. If I move up, build level 3, I will wisely go to d2 and build a dome. So that's a no-no. If I go to d2 and build in c2, I guess Asteria just moves up, builds in c1. That wouldn't work. I guess here my move is quite forced, and it is this move. The problem, I need to leave some squares available for this worker, because the female worker can trap me. I'm starting to think I will lose this game actually. Not being able to trap this guy. Maybe we'll get there. So moving up to e4 doesn't seem to work, because I just go to d3 and dome d4. Okay, what will we have? Maybe a better try than moving up to e4, but I guess I can just move up and build a dome in d2. That seems to be winning. This is winning. Let me confirm that it is moved down. Now it can't even build in a3. It needs to build in a1 so that it can dome in c1. And then I just move to a3 and build in b3. In b3, I mean. So good game. Very interesting game.